Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the North Dracul Governor's Debate, the final debate between Paul Frye and Eric Williams Jr. We are glad you have joined us, coming live from the North Dracul Capitol in Houston. This is, again, the North Dracul final Governor's Debate. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. We are going to go ahead and commence here now. And we have all of our participants here. Eric Williams Jr. and Paul Frye. I'd like to say good evening to everyone. What we will do is we will begin a coin toss. And I will go ahead and take that coin. This is an important part of our republic. And we're going to go ahead and do this coin toss. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm about to flip. Since Mr. Frye won the previous debate, I'm going to go ahead and ask, would you like heads or tails? And you can unmute now if you'd like.
Let's go ahead and go with heads.
Heads? Heads for Mr. Frye, tails for Mr. Williams. We're going to go ahead and we have it on screen. For those watching, we're going to flip. Heads. Okay. You chose heads. Okay. So what we're going to do is, Mr. Frye, you will have 2 minutes to make an opening statement about the debate and what you expect and what you wish for the people to understand and focus on tonight. And after that, Mr. Williams will have 2 minutes to make his opening statements as well. You may begin.
Well, thank you for having me tonight. I'll make mine very short and sweet, to the point. Use your mind, follow your beliefs. That's something that I value of Mr. Eric very, is the fact that he stands strongly behind his beliefs. Take everything you can from this little debate we have tonight and make educated guess based off of what you feel the country needs. Not just one thing. You got to take it all around together. Just remember that there's multiple points of views to every situation. And the best way to address a situation is by being able to take those multiple points of view and making a applied, educated decision. Thank you again for having me, and I'll turn the floor over to Mr. Eric, unless Steven needs to do anything else.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, good afternoon to everyone that's watching. I hope that they're having a good day. Just everything that's going on right now with the debates, the first one and on to the second one, is very historical. It has a meaning to it. Nothing that we're doing, it doesn't mean nothing. But so, as I'm saying going forward, is that when you listen to our debates, make sure that you understand what we're saying, like Paul said earlier, because it's very important that once you listen, because you're placing, either one of us to run the state of Dracul. And I know Mr. Frye is very serious in doing so. And just, like I said, just make sure that you pay attention, make sure that you understand what we're saying. If you have questions, please ask. We're never afraid to answer any of your questions. And please just sit back and enjoy the debate. Thank you.
Thank you both for your opening statements. We appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and start with the questions. After we complete the questions, we will take questions from the audience who is participating, currently having 5 viewers right now. And we appreciate everyone for your attendance. Since Mr. Frye, candidate Frye, won the coin toss, we're going to go ahead. Since Mr. Frye, candidate... just make sure the volume is working, sorry. Since candidate Frye won the coin toss, the first question will go to Mr. Frye. Mr. Frye, you will have 2 minutes to answer to respond to the question. After that 2 minutes, I will call time and we will go to Mr. Williams. Have any questions? Do we have any questions?
I'm good here, sir.
Okay.
Just trying to get a better reception.
I understand.
Seconds here.
So beginning with you, candidate Frye, why are you a better choice than your opponent to create the kinds of jobs that will put more money into the pockets of Draculian workers?
All right. Well, first off, I don't like the word better. I think I'm the best choice. I don't think either man's better. I think we're both excellent and qualified. But I do feel my approach to all the situations and how I handle complicated situations, running a business for several years, that plays to a key for me because I can draw off of experiences that I've already had prior to the past that I can apply to improving overall government in North Dracul and establishing something that we can be proud of and work towards.
Okay. Did you have any further comments to make, or is that it?
No, I like to keep it short and to the point, sir.
Okay, understandable. We just try to provide 2 minutes to each candidate so they have enough talking time to answer the question thoroughly if they desire that amount of time. Candidate Williams, same question. Why are you the better choice than your opponent to create the kinds of jobs that will put more money into the pockets of Draculian workers?
Well, first and foremost, I grew up in a family that really didn't have anything, so I understand what it means to struggle. I understand what it means to live in poverty and just make it a day at a time. So with that being said, just the fact that I have an understanding of what the citizens need, I have an understanding of what the citizens want, and I have an understanding of what the citizens have. So when there are issues come across, my desk or come across my attention, it's an understanding of where they're trying to reach out to me because when a question is being asked, when a concern is being brought to your attention, the person that you're bringing that attention to has to have an understanding or meet you at a certain place so that can be putting effect on those people's behalf. And the only way to do that is first of all, that person has to care about the citizens to have extra money in their pockets. So right then there, I do care about the poverty level. I do care about the people having more finances in their pockets so they can be able to spend time with their families, go out on the nice vacations, and also have a savings account. We have a savings account because times are hard, times are tough. So these things needs to be put in effect. Not tomorrow, not next day, not next year, right now.
Thank you both. Mr. Frye.
Yes, sir.
Regarding American policies, politics, and current situations, since the majority of us reside in the United States territory, the share of Americans who say race relations are bad in this country says is the highest it's been in decades, much of it amplified by shootings of African Americans by police, as we've seen in Charlotte and Tulsa. Race has been a big issue, and one of you is going to have to bridge a very big, wide, bitter gap. So how do you heal the divide?
Well, first off, we take away the labels. As Americans, we're all Americans. Not African Americans, not white Americans, not Mexican Americans, not Hispanic Americans, not Canadian Americans, not Romanian Americans. You're an American. American. So, So first off, we need to take away the labels. Desegregation was a big key. Let's do, that's actually something I know quite a bit about. Brown versus Board of Education actually took place in my very hometown of Topeka, Kansas. It was the desegregation of blacks and the whites from the schools. They were trying to force her to walk over several miles when there was a school less than half a block from her house. So seeing that, growing up in a town like I have grown up in, and seeing the strong racial tensions, it's about, first off, taking the label away. We're not different. We're all the same people. We need to be treated like that, approached like that, responded like that. You have to bridge out. You have to go in the community. Being in EMS and law enforcement, you see this on a daily basis. And, being able to grow a community as a group instead of everybody out for each other is something that is valued in every society, and it's something that I look forward to trying to achieve, regardless of where it's at. Society needs to take a hard look at life and make sure we understand that until we do take away these labels and desegregation, that there's going to be these tensions, and it's not okay.
Okay, gentlemen's time has expired. Thank you, sir. The next question, or I should say the same question, goes to Candidate Williams. Same question. How do you heal the divide between race relations? Mr. Frye, would you be able to mute your mic? We're getting some background from you.
Now, are you saying race relations regarding the shootings as well?
There's the same question between race relations. A lot of Americans saying race relations are bad in this country, and it's the highest it's been in decades. Much of it amplified by shootings of African Americans by police, as we've seen in Charlotte and Tulsa. So race has been a big issue, and one of you is going to have to bridge a very wide and bitter gap. So how do you heal the divide?
It's sad to say that there are still cases of racism today in this time. Day in and day out, there's always been leaders and there's always been people that's been fighting to put this behind us, to make sure that the people are living right, just, and free. But the fact of the matter is, it's still there. And the fact that the only way to sometimes make sure that this is not an issue, this is not a problem, is to bring that issue into light. Do we have police officers that does not live to the standards that we need to today? Yes, we do. Does that comes down to training, proper training, that comes down to understanding the use of force, and that does come to understanding how to deal with the general public, because the public has to learn how to trust law enforcement. And if the public doesn't learn how to trust law enforcement, then it will be a lot of issues, a lot of errors in your city, in your state. The law enforcement are supposed to protect, they are supposed to defend, they're supposed to protect, defend the Constitution. The way I see it, we need to look forward into coming together as a whole, as a people, and to make meetings and to tell the officials what's going on out in the streets. Because if they don't know what our officers are doing, then how can they handle it in a professional manner? If you want to see change, make change, be the difference, go out there and actually say something.
Gentlemen's time has expired. Thank you. Next question goes to Candidate Frye. Candidate Frye, do you favor increasing or reducing Social Security benefits? And if so, how would you do it?
Okay. Read that to me one more time, just so I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Do you favor increasing or reducing Social Security benefits, and how would you do it?
I am in favor of both. I know that sounds weird, but here's how that works. I believe in reducing where it's needed, as in there are certain drawings of disability that are being drawn for reasons that are less adequate compared to other reasons. And I feel at the same time that people that do have the serious conditions should have an increase, because they really cannot provide any other means. How
Stand by, having technical difficulties. Pause the time. Are you getting a freeze on your end?
I'll have individuals tonight because I don't have time.
Mr. Frye, the time was stopped.
And I feel about that.
Mr. Frye, the time was stopped at 1 minute and 18 seconds due to a freeze on your screen. Could you please rephrase what you just previously stated a few moments ago?
Before you start, could you tell me where I left off so I can kind of have an idea?
You said that you would be in favor of doing both, and then you spoke about money in the pockets of both.
Okay. So what I was saying is we need to decrease in certain areas where it's not as needed or it's not as dependent, to where they have other sources of means. And we need to take that money and put it towards people that are in serious need, that have no means to make it. That's where we can get a lot of the money without going outside of the infrastructure itself, is by pulling, because there are some cases that people are getting $1,400-$1,500 a month, but they're more than capable of being able to work to a point. They just can't work full time. So that should be a supplement type of SSI for those people, compared to a person with stage 4 or stage 4 cancer or multiple sclerosis, or I'm just trying to give some serious cases. You could take the money from the less needed and add that money to those people. And that right there would give the decrease and increase, and without going outside the infrastructure.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Williams, the same question is to you. Do you favor increasing or reducing Social Security benefits? And if so, how would you do it? You have 2 minutes.
Well, like I said before in the previous debate, we need to actually monitor on the income, on what the people are making. I am for increasing the the Social Security, but at the same time, we need to know who are we doing it for, why are we doing it for, and what are the needs that we're doing it for. Because there are people that actually are in need, and there are people who are just sitting down and milking the system and taking things from the government that really somebody else should have. It shouldn't be reduced. The people should be able to come to us when they are in need.
All right, thank you. Time to stop. I will ask at this time that any viewers of the live broadcast post any questions that they have in the live chat. If you do not see the live chat, please refresh your YouTube broadcast view so you can see the live chat menu open. If you have any questions, please post those questions now. We will get to those towards the end of the debate if we have time. We like to have some questions already on hand, standing by if we have enough time. Mr. Frye, what 3 steps would you take to improve Medicare?
You were chopping real choppy. I didn't catch. If you were addressing me, I apologize.
Mr. Frye, what 3 steps would you take to improve Medicare?
What 3 steps would I take for Medicare?
To improve Medicare.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Sorry, having an issue hearing you for some reason. 3 steps to improve Medicare. Better access to facilities and doctors. An easier examination, assessment, and qualification process. And a regulatory board to ensure that these things are followed through on the regular.
Out of the 3 that you stated, which would you say is the most important?
The most important. It's gonna be the. They're all really important, to be honest. Steps that you want to focus on, I guess I could put it this way to you, sir, is first thing I want to do is focus on assessments and access to it. I want to make sure that they're being done right, that people that really need help are actually being seen and addressed, whether that's going to homes or having more available clinics in the area. And then I would move on to the open facilities. I want all facilities to be accessible for these individuals and people. Then finally, the final step, as I addressed, was the regulatory board. We need somebody to oversight everything. Oversight's a key to growing and striving as a nation.
Okay, thank you so much. We have a couple of questions that we received through the chat. We will hold on to those to the end of the debate if we have the time. They look like good questions. Mr. Williams, the same question is to you. What 3 steps would you take to improve Medicare?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So, 3 steps that I'll choose to help improve Medicare. One is the access to facilities, making sure that we're putting. Making sure that we're putting those like our facilities, the hospitals, or in easy to get areas wherever the people live in certain amount of zones, making sure that those people have quick access to them. Making sure that affordable medicine are given to the people. I believe there should be a law on stating that there should be an affordable medicine plan given to the people who's making less amount of money per year. And the last is having an understanding on, first of all, the issues that were brought up in the past, and understand that, you know, what was the issues in the past, to fix that and to not do that again, and to make sure that, you know, when we go on this path, that that we're doing bigger and better things for the people concerning the medical standpoint.
I can't hear you, Stephen.
This question is going to go to Mr. Williams to start out because it needs to be rebutted by Mr. Frye. Okay. Mr. Williams, several weeks ago, you stated in front of several Draculians that Mr. Frye is not worthy of this position due to extended and multiple absences throughout the year. Did you mean this, and what did you mean more in depth?
There was never a time where I have stated that fact. There was never a time where I have said that. So wherever this is coming from, there's no answer to it because I never stated that.
Candidate Frye, you have 2 minutes if you'd like to rebut the statement of Mr. Williams supposedly stating that you were not worthy of the position due to multiple absences.
Well, to be honest, that's not my style. So we're going to go ahead and leave it at that. I do feel that both candidates are quite qualified and excellent in their fields. And we'll leave it at that, sir. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to the next topic, starting again with Mr. Frye. We want to start with to make sure I understand this question correctly. These questions do come from the community, so sometimes they are not properly typed.
Take your time, sir.
Our next segment is called Securing Dracul. We want to start with a 21st century war happening almost on a monthly basis and including recently in this micronation. Our institutions are under cyber attack and our secrets are being stolen. So my question is, who's behind it and how do we fight it?
Well, see, this question's kind of difficult for me, Mr. Speaker. Being the active Secretary of Defense, some of the stuff that we're using to address this is classified information, and without authorization through the President and the Vice President, I'm not at liberties to share that. But what I could do is give you kind of what I would feel personally as a person, not as an official, I would do. Would that work for you guys? I just want to be honest.
Well, if you're not able to say who's behind it or anything to that extent, then of course the second question would be, how do we fight it?
By improving, by going back through and always improving our abilities to watch for it. I feel that our structures are very strong. I have quite confidence in the President and the Vice President and how they depended on stuff. Sorry about that. We just always need to improve. Also, you know,
Just a moment.
By adding key. I apologize here. You guys got me back?
Yes. You may continue.
By adding key plays and units to the military and to the structure, we'll be strong for a long time to come. Can't speculate once again on the first part, but I can say that I have the uttermost confidence in the Defense Department and our leadership in our country to protect our vital information. But we're always good. It's always key to review and review and review, because it's that one review that you skip that you miss something that is vital to defense. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Williams, same questions to you. Who's behind the cyber attack, and how do we fight it?
Okay, hear me?
Yes.
Alright. Now, we recently ourselves has gone through a cyber attack, and we have recently brought out who was behind it. 9 times out of 10, to the reason why they was given access to our database is because there's someone on the inside giving information. There's always going to be an inside job. It's easy to track. It's you always have to follow the breadcrumbs. You always have to follow where it was sent last, how the time it was sent, and to figure out the sometimes if they're good hackers, they will hide the IP address, but you can always track breadcrumbs. Then when we do this, then we have to shut it down right then and there and not let it go any further, because when a cyber attack does happen, it could cause a lot of catastrophe. It could cause our defense to go out in the public and all our secrets and all our ways to protect the people to be put out into the hands of people that does not need it. So when we do find it, it has to be dealt with swift, quick, and right on point.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that question. Timer is stopped. Candidate Frye. There are Draculian citizens who have been inspired to commit acts of terror on Draculian soil. The latest incident, of course, the Dracul rebellion this summer, which wounded many and killed hundreds. I'll ask this to the both of you, but you, of course, first. Tell us specifically, how would you prevent homegrown attacks by Draculian citizens?
Education. Education. And education. It's key to be able for people, just the average citizen, to recognize signs of issues that could be concerning. And let's be real about it. There's no real signs of terrorism. You look at a lot of these mass issues that have happened, and we'll just say America because we're all pretty up to date on those. Not a lot of signs beforehand. The thing is mental health awareness is a big key in this, guys. Education and knowing signs that someone might not be okay. Being able to provide the access and the treatment for people that do need it. Terrorism is only allowed if allowed to be in the thought process of people. If we're all getting along and we're all striving for the same goal, once again, removing the labels as one whole group, we'll be able to advance ourselves. Terrorism isn't going to go away, though. Don't take that by any means, guys. It's going to happen every day. But all we can do is educate ourselves and better ourselves to ensure that it happens less and less frequently. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. The timer has stopped. The same question goes to candidate Williams, which is, tell us specifically how you would prevent homegrown attacks by Draculian citizens.
Now, the issue with terrorism is the people's lack of trust involving the government. We had to sometimes keep building the people's trust, but understanding that terrorism will always be there. You're not going to make everyone happy or make everyone understanding of what the government is trying to do, or make people understanding of why the government is doing what they're doing. First and foremost, when these things do happen, it's hard to do, but sometimes, which we are in a growing nation right now, we have to be placed under martial law because we had to make sure that everyone is secured outside and inside. The growing factor is the situation we had before with the rebellion, that we had to close down the jails of a certain issue that I'm not at liberty to speak out on. But it's always going to be that we have to make sure the people have the government's trust, and that we have to make sure that the people understand that going further, that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that you have what you need.
Thank you so much for answering that question. Timer has stopped. We are going to take a 10-minute recess, a 10-minute break from the debate. We will be back in about 10 minutes. We're going to take a break so all of the candidates will be able to get a snack, get a drink of water, take a break, step away, stretch their legs. We will be back in approximately 10 minutes, so please don't go anywhere. We will resume and pick up where we left off with a couple of questions that have been awaiting on the live chat. We certainly thank you for your questions. And again, as I said, we will be back in approximately 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. This is the final North Dracul debate between Paul Frye and Eric Williams. Thank you for participating, and we will be back.
This is your news update. From the Commonwealth of Dracul, you are watching Dracul 1 National News.
Thank you for joining us again as we come back to the 2019 midterm elections race for the Capitol between Eric Harvey Williams Jr. and Paul Frye. We're certainly glad that you'll have participated in the viewing of the final North Dracul debate. We have had some great questions asked, and questions that are currently pending in the session, of course, as well. So we are certainly glad that everyone has joined us. And we are going to begin here. All right, looking good. Okay, here we are. Thank you so much.
Sorry about that.
That's
I was
okay.
trying to get to a better area.
That's okay. That's okay. We're glad you've joined back with us again, and it's working.
Sorry about that.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and resume where we left off at. Questions that have come from the group. First question that comes from the live chat starts with Mr. Frye. What is your political affiliation? How do you identify regarding politics? Frye, can you hear us? I think we're having some technical difficulties with Mr. Frye.
Alright, can you guys hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I think I found a spot I might be able to set.
It's okay. The question that goes to you is, what is your political affiliation? How do you identify regarding politics?
See, that's hard. Once again, it's back to those labels. I want to say I run right down the middle, and I kind of lean to the left a little bit. But the best way I guess we could describe it, if we were to use a label, would be conservative libertarian. I believe in personal liberties, but I also believe in people being rules that are in place being enforced properly and you being responsible for your actions. If that kind of is that kind of what you guys were wanting? Or I just want to make sure. I apologize. I'm still having a little bit of difficulty on my end here.
Yes, it does. Basically asking what your affiliation would be for politics, and so you basically, as you said, you're a libertarian.
Conservative libertarian.
Conservative libertarian. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Sorry.
You okay? You okay? Yes, you can go ahead. Question for you is, how do you identify politically?
Say the question again.
How do you identify politically? Political identification. Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, Conservative, Independent, things of that sort.
I view myself as a conservative.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question goes to Mr. Paul Frye. What are your plans to increase the population of Dracul, the citizenship numbers?
Can you guys hear me now?
There you go.
Cool. Okay. So can you run that question over one more time? I just want to make sure.
What are your plans? Do you have any plans to increase the citizenship numbers of Dracul? We're currently at 62, I believe.
Actually, I do. I have actually several great plans. I have one that's really, really great for the nation in North Dracul that me and a senator have been working on. But I got to kind of keep that hush-hush for now. We'll get to that later. But I do have great ideas to draw in people. I'd like to keep those a little bit kind of vague for now until I actually get into office, and then you will see. I believe in actions bigger than words. But by drawing in people, I have several ideas, whether it be social media, whether it be word of mouth, which is, by the way, the greatest advertising there is. You can't beat word of mouth. And yeah, we'll leave it at that for now. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Williams, the same question goes to you. 2 minutes, of course, as well. What are your plans, if any, to increase the population, the citizenship number of Dracul?
I do have a plan. It's actually, when I do become governor, there'll be a lot of citizens actually joining. And believe it or not, there are people in my workplace has been following us and been rooting for the debates and everything. And they're pretty astounded by the work and the efforts that we're doing. So in doing so, I can't say it's like, if I do this and if you do this and we'll do this, but they wanna kind of push me to see me win, then they'll join, type of thing.
Okay. Thank you so much. Timer is stopped. Mr. Frye, question goes to you. Are you planning on increasing or decreasing Draculian business regulation?
You know, business regulation's a tricky thing. I think it needs to be kept at a moderate level. I don't necessarily think an increase is necessary or a decrease is necessary. I think we really need to study what we have in place and then make some educated steps from that position. If findings were found that there's an increase or decrease needed, then yes, we would take the steps necessary. But at this time, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
All right, thank you so much. The question is the same from Mr. Williams. Do you plan on increasing or decreasing the Dracul business regulation in North Dracul?
Well, I certainly do plan on increasing because we have the numbers to do so. And there are a lot of our citizens within our nation that's without jobs and without anything to do right now. And I believe that once these businesses are created, in their liking and understanding, if they know how to do it, then we create those businesses for them so that they have something to do. So I do believe that there is a need to increase those businesses, and I will do that once I become governor.
Okay. Everything all right, Mr. Frye?
Increasing businesses, I thought we were talking about business regulations and how they're enforced and regulated. Maybe I missed the question. That's why I was checking.
No, is there, do you wish for Mr. Williams to elaborate more on that answer?
I would actually, yes, please.
Okay, we'll give Mr. Williams an additional 2 extra minutes to elaborate on the specifics of regulations of business, the regulations that regulate how business is run.
Well, my thing is the regulations, the way businesses are ran, are by creating new things, in my opinion, and allowing people to have opportunities to do it will help those regulations.
Did that explain a little bit more? Go more into depth? Did that answer your question, Mr. Frye?
Yeah, it will do. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Okay. We're currently looking at a graph right now on the Commonwealth of Dracul's website for Dracul employment graph, applicants accepted. In January and February of this year, there were 0 applicants accepted in the workforce. By March, there were 3 applicants accepted. April had 4. May had 2. June had 0. July had 3. August and September had 0. October had 1. November had 3. And currently, there is only 1 that we currently know of. Has not been updated on the website yet, but we know of 1 that's been accepted in December. What do you think, Mr. Frye, is the best marketing strategy to get the word out there that Dracul has open positions and that they need to be fulfilled?
Can you go over the graph for me one more time? It cut out on me right through the middle of it. I want to make sure I have all the information.
Well, going back to looking at the graph on the website, it looks like April was the highest for the whole entire year. April only had 4 applicants accepted in the workplace.
Okay, and how can we grow and strengthen this? Well, there's several ways. By strong leadership and fellowship. We're looking at key players in the government pushing, getting their back in to push more publications, more advertisement, more citizenship. And in the long run, that will increase our application process for government jobs because we'll have more citizens to provide and fill those adequate positions.
Thank you so much. The same question goes to candidate Williams. How do you plan on increasing the number of jobs given to citizens in Dracul? How do you plan or feel is the best strategy to let people know that job positions are open?
The way I feel that we should go about this is letting people understand the benefits by having the jobs that are available that open, what they would do for their families, and how it would help them tremendously while being a citizen. First and foremost, people are always going to want benefits. How is it going to benefit them? How is it going to benefit? What kind of benefits are they going to have? So the benefits of having these jobs should be always advertised, always be put on the front stage of these advertisements, so that it will bring people in to actually take the jobs and actually do the jobs and be happy for the jobs.
Thank you so much. We are running 2 minutes over our 1 hour debate, so we are going to go ahead and end the questions here. We're going to end with statements from the candidates. We will start with Mr. Frye, as he won the coin toss. Mr. Frye, please make your ending statements, as this is the final debate, the final North Dracul debate between you and Mr. Williams. Please make your final closing statements. You have 2 minutes.
If I may, Mr. Speaker, I would like to allow Mr. Williams to go first on the final, since I have won all the coin toss. I'd like to see him provide his point of view first, and then I'd like to follow up if that's okay.
If you would like to do so. Mr. Williams, do you accept going first?
Yes, I say.
This is your closing statement on the debate. Closing statement. You have 2 minutes.
This has been a long race, and not to say that which one of us are deserving to be on this position, but you, the people, are going to choose for us to be on the position. I live here in the state of Dracul. I've been at Dracul. I've been to the ceremonies. I've even won a medal for participating in the rebellions, and I've sacrificed a lot for the people, and I have done tremendous things to make sure that our people are respected. And I'm always monitoring. I'm always making sure that our laws are being followed, and whatever's being brought to me, I'm making sure that it's being dealt with. Mr. Frye is also good at what he does, and he does try his best to make sure that the people are being protected. And all I have to say is, in ending this statement, is that everything that we're doing right now is to better Dracul, to better the people, and for the people to feel safe and live in our nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll go ahead and stop the timer now. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Frye, it is your time to make closing statements. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate you today. I just would like to say, and go back to what I kind of preaching in the beginning, this is an election not about me or Mr. Williams. This election is about a leader for the people of North Dracul. Understand, analyze, question. Feel free to send the candidates questions. If you have concerns, you want to know what our points of views are, and they weren't covered tonight in this debate, please, I urge you to reach out to me at my government email, and we'll be glad to sit down and have a discussion about beliefs and ideas and what I want to do. I also want you guys to understand education is key to growing our nation and making us a better nation. I have a great bill that I'm going to be helping endorse and push with the help of a senator soon. That's going to grow education in our state and our government greatly. Remember, it's ultimately the people's choice in what happens in their country. You guys are the ultimate deciders and factors in what happens. If you want change, choose somebody you feel is going to voice your change. Communicate. And remember, enjoy life. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate all of your hard work and all of your dedication, both of you gentlemen, the speaker and Mr. Williams. Excellent work here today. It was a privilege and honor to be a part of this.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, go ahead and stop the timer. Thank you. Final question goes to Mr. Paul Frye. One of you will not win this election, as we of course know how elections go. So my final question to you tonight is, are you willing to accept the outcome as the will of the voters?
Say that one more time. There was a ding right in the middle of what you were saying.
One of you will not win this election. So my final question to you tonight is, are you willing to accept the outcome as the will of the voters?
Yes, I am willing to accept the outcome because ultimately, again, it's the people's voice that matters here. It's not me. It's not Mr. Williams. It's the people of our great country. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Williams, very quickly, the same question. Will you accept the outcome as the will of the voters?
Yes, that's all really what we can do is accept either win, loss, defeat. This the fact that it's the people who choose, not us. So whoever you choose, the people choose, is you're going to have to understand why you choose either or from one of us.
Thank you so much. We certainly appreciate everyone for joining us today. You have been participating in the final North Dracul Governor's debate between Eric Williams and Paul Frye, candidates for North Dracul Governor. Thank you again for your time, participation, and interest in the Commonwealth of Dracul, especially North Dracul. We sincerely appreciate everyone, and thank you again for the questions that came in through the live chat. This broadcast will be re-uploaded after precise editing through our video department. It will be available when the stream ends, and of course as well after it is re-uploaded and technical difficulties are removed. And again, thank you. The North Dracul debate is coming up soon, so make sure that you participate in this North Dracul debate for our citizens. If you go to our North Dracul, or our Dracul website, draculgov.com, you can see many wonderful things about the Commonwealth, including our homepage, frequently asked question, information about the states of North and South Dracul, our patriotism, Dracul history, and of course, on the homepage, under midterm elections, questions that have already been answered by many of the candidates of North and South Dracul. Remember, the North Dracul debate is tonight and is now concluding. So that started at 6 p.m. And remember, the midterm elections are approaching quickly. January 6th, 2019 will be the midterm elections. January 6th, 2019. So if you have not, remember, go to our draculgov.com website, click on midterm elections, and click on, at the top, register to vote if you have not registered to vote. You will receive by email your voter registration certificate along with your identification numbers, so you'll be able to cast your ballot, and you will have the opportunity to ask additional questions to the candidates before January 6th, 2019, to either candidate that you would like to. Thank you again for participating, and we hope everyone had a wonderful viewing. Thank you again, and take care.